Hey everyone, Dave here with another physical media related video. This is a bit of a sad one. We've unfortunately lost another domino in the Australian physical media landscape. Again, very sad, there's a bit to talk about, so let's get into it. Alright, so you may have all seen the latest news that's just sort of come out this morning. Unfortunately, Random Space Media, really great small label here in Australia, who has been bringing out some really great stuff over the last couple of years, is unfortunately closing down. The time that I'm posting this, they have just published this not that long ago, and they're going to be operating for the next week, and then they're going to be gone. They have just posted this across their social medias. I'll read it out to you right here. It's with great sadness that we announce today Random Space Media will be closing this week. We understand this may come as a shock to many of you, but please know we do not take this decision lightly. Random Space Media has been an incredible experience for our whole team, and we have loved bringing you some fantastic releases over the last few years. Whilst we wish we could continue, it is no longer a viable business for us. The Australian physical media market has been in a state of flux this past year, beginning with the store closures of long-time retailer Sanity and with Disney exiting the market entirely. Unfortunately, this is a trend that will continue for many years to come as the world moves forward with digital and streaming platforms. We have loved supporting the physical media industry, but ultimately this is a losing battle for us. Any orders in our system will either be shipped by Friday 22nd of September or will be cancelled and refunded. All active gift cards will be refunded over the next few days. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at support@randomspacemedia.com. We thank you again for all your support. So this one's, again, really quite sad. I can't say that I didn't see this coming. I've been working alongside Random Space Media for the last couple of years fairly closely, looking at their releases, reviewing them, showcasing them to all of you. They didn't tell me anything official, like I didn't know that they were closing or anything, but just kind of the feeling that I had. A lot of you noticed that their releases were slowing down a little bit. They had a few issues with their last batch of releases, and it took them a little while to sort through all of that. And just with my conversations with the team over there, they started slowing down a little bit, and I kind of had the feeling that they unfortunately weren't going to be around for much longer. And I think that Disney pulling out of the physical media market here in Australia is probably maybe the last nail for them. I know they had a very close relationship with Disney. They put out a number of kind of exclusive releases with them, or help them out with a few releases. And you know, when you are running a business like this and you're working with multiple partners and you're relying on those partners to help you, release titles and stuff, when one major one falls, you're not left with a whole lot to kind of work with. I just think it's very indicative, again, as they said in their statement, of what the Australian physical media market is looking like at the moment. Sanity closed all of their stores at the beginning of this year. A number of years ago, they closed pretty much all the stores in Victoria. I think there were still a few rural stores around, sort of like outback, outside of the city stores. But they're all completely closed as of the beginning of this year. And of course, we've had Disney pulling out of the market. A number of the other distributors here in Australia, I know, are not having the greatest time. A lot of the distributors are having to completely 360 or completely 180 on their releases. You started to notice a lot more big, expensive collector's editions that are coming out from labels that maybe in the past didn't specialize in that kind of stuff. A lot of smaller releases are kind of going by the wayside for bigger, more elaborate, more expensive titles. So we're starting to see a lot of these boutique labels starting to gear themselves towards, I guess, collectors' markets as opposed to the general buyer, who simply just doesn't exist in Australia at the moment. And this is something I've been saying for years, and every time I say it, people tell me I'm crazy, that I'm a doomsdayer, any of this stuff. But when you follow the industry as closely as I do, you start to notice trends, and you start to notice the way things are going. This is all stuff I've said in videos recently. I said this all in, I did a video about the Disney closure and all that, and mentioned a lot of these things. And, I just think now with Random Space pulling out, it is it should act as proof to a lot of people that this is unfortunately the way physical media is going in Australia. One argument that I have seen a lot is that these boutiques are thriving. They're selling so many copies of these great limited editions and stuff, but you've got to realize that a lot of these are being sold overseas as well. Now, I don't have numbers on this, but I would say, judging by, I follow a lot of forums and stuff, and I see what people are saying and how people are, interacting with the media and stuff, and I get the feeling that a decent percentage of sales for some of the local brands are going overseas. They ship internationally. A lot of the titles, if not all of them, are region free, region unlocked, and a lot of international buyers are buying them up too. So local labels are not entirely reliant on local customers. You go into a JB Hi-Fi store, there's no one in the media section, maybe 1 or 2 people. You went in 3, 4, 5 years ago, it would be packed. JB would have a sale on the Thursday night. People would go out in droves to pick up their titles on the sales. And if you didn't pick up stuff straight away, you kind of missed out. But now you go in a shop and you're the only one there. They've been shrinking their physical media sections. They've been bringing a lot of merchandise junk in. So where there were rows and rows of Blu-rays and DVDs at one point, there's rows and rows of pop vinyls and board games and action figures and stuff like that. And a lot of the kind of physical media stores are starting to do that. And again, Sanity completely shuttered. They're online only now. So yeah, I think a lot of people also were very quick to blame Disney pulling out of our local market as just Disney being Disney and, pulling out to push us all towards Disney Plus, get rid of all the physical media so people can't buy it and they'll sell it to Disney Plus. In some respect, yeah, I mean, Disney, they blatantly said that, they confirmed that a large push, a large reason that they decided to pull out of physical media was because they're focusing on Disney Plus and digital, but there would have to be a business reason behind that. They wouldn't just decide to pull physical media if it's still selling well. So Disney physical media obviously not selling very well on the local market, and they have seen where the market is going. And the market at the moment is really led by these big boutique labels, and Disney made that big decision to pull the plug because there's just not a market locally anymore. And I think this Random Space Media pullout, even though this may be part of a domino effect, a chain effect that, as they said, will last over the next couple of years, I also think that it is indicative of this wide-reaching issue, is that people are just not buying physical media in Australia anymore, outside of the collector core. You'll also see that my videos on physical media, the viewership that I get on these dropped substantially a couple of years ago. It's a big part of why I had to start a second channel and move all this content over here, because people just were not watching this stuff. They were not interacting with this stuff on the level that they used to. And I think, to me, that was one of the first indicators that there's not that many people around anymore that are still supporting this physical industry. And it is very sad. Now, I'm only doing this video because, and I've had a number of people reach out to me already with my thoughts on it. I wanted to put my thoughts out there, just sort of talk what I'm thinking and whatever I know from my dealings with everyone in the local industry. And of course, whatever discussions I've had with whatever labels do remain entirely confidential. But I can say that, from my view of everything that's going on, it's not looking great. And Random Space, unfortunately, was one label that I predicted not that long ago, we're probably not going to be around for that long. And it is very unfortunate. The team over at Random Space are incredible. They have been wonderful this entire time. I've worked with them very closely, and they're always so keen to just send me over stuff to take a look at and help spotlight for everyone out there and hopefully get the word out a little bit. Random Space, of course, they're a very, very small label, and I feel like they weren't very well known until maybe a couple of years ago. If you are still not that well aware of what they were doing, they were working with studios as sort of a middleman to get out releases that the studios didn't want to release to general sale, or didn't think there was going to be like a huge market for. Stuff like box set. They would curate great box sets, for example, recently, one of their more recent releases was this fantastic 4K box set of, I think it was 8 Universal Monsters classic films in 4K, whereas on the general market you could only get a box set of 4 films. Random Space did this great set with 8 films. They helped get out the Alfred Hitchcock classic collections in 4K, big box sets. Box sets like, there was the Breaking Bad. They did a complete series box set with the movie, the Netflix film, was it called? I can't remember what it's called. That Jesse Pinkman movie. They did this great exclusive box set that had all of it. Great Battlestar Galactica box set with all the series in there. And these were all like curated by Random Space Media. They got movies out that onto the market that the studios didn't think would sell well on Blu-ray, but they helped push them out. There were series like The Great with Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. They managed to get the first season of that onto Blu-ray when the studio weren't going to release a Blu-ray of that. And perhaps most notably, they were able to bring out a bunch of 3D Blu-rays over the last couple of years after all of the studios basically pulled out of the format, not just on the local market, but on the global market. You know, they're releasing animated movies from DreamWorks and Illumination in 3D that weren't getting general retail 3D releases. There were a couple of live action things as well, like the second or the third Jumanji movie. They managed to get that out on 3D as well. Jurassic World Dominion came out on 3D via them. So they were like this middleman who worked with studios and curated smaller releases that at first they were selling exclusively to their web store, but then JB Hi-Fi and a few of the other stores as well managed to pick up a few of their titles and help sell some of their titles as well. When I got onto Random Space Media a couple of years ago, I didn't even really know much about them. I saw they were releasing some great stuff. The first release I noticed from them was The Golden Child, this great Eddie Murphy movie from the 1980s, one of my favorites, a very little known sort of cult Eddie Murphy movie. They managed to get that out onto Blu-ray, and that and The Great, the first season, The Great, show that I really love. I wanted to reach out to them and be like, hey, what's the deal with you guys? And they kind of explained themselves to me, and I said, look, let's work together, let's do some stuff, let me help advertise you and get the word out. And I would like to think that in some small way maybe I helped get the word out for Random Space and let a lot of you guys out there know about them and what they were all about, really, because I know there was a little hesitation around them. It's like, what is this random little company releasing all these? Like, are they official studio release? You know, whatever. And I hope in some way I helped them out, helped get their word out, and helped let you guys know about them and reassure you that they were a really, really good company and worthy of your support. I do really hope that in some way I had some very small impact in helping raise awareness for them. Unfortunately, though, it's the end of the line for Random Space. It's very sad to see them go. I hope I do keep in contact with the great team over there. Hope they move on to other places where I will keep in contact with them and whatever else, because it is such a wonderful team and they've curated some really wonderful releases. Unfortunately, it is the end of the line, though, for them. And yeah, as they said, look, I think this is just the beginning of the end of physical media in Australia. This is going to start happening. I have already heard rumours of other studios, won't name any names, but I've already heard fairly substantial rumours of other major studios pulling out of physical media on the local market. Whether that's true or not, you know, I can't exactly say, but I've heard some pretty substantial stuff. But look, I will continue to work with the local labels as much as I can and push out the word as much as I can and support their releases and help you guys, and, you know, always reaching out to me with advice, or if you don't know anything, you know, in some ways I feel like I'm kind of a middleman for these guys, and just kind of, you know, helping spread the word and whatever. I will continue to work with all the wonderful labels like Umbrella and Viavision and Imprint, and you know, I'm doing some work with Sanity as well, helping to push the studio releases as well. And of course, I continue my work with Disney in the US. Unfortunately, you know, I will do my best to help you out there figure out how you can import titles from Disney and whatever. And, you know, as we move forward, and it looks like we're going to have to rely on a lot of overseas imports, I'll be here to help guide everyone through that as well. If you have any questions, reach out to me through any of my socials, Instagram or Twitter, or email me or whatever. I'm always here to help you with some advice. Unfortunately, I just hope you all realize that this is a dire situation for physical media in Australia, and it's very easy to say things like, oh, but these labels are doing so great, and, oh, but Disney's just being greedy Disney and whatever. But just realize that it's very, I've been saying it for a long time, but physical media in Australia, I mean, physical media is still doing quite well. Overseas, US, UK, still doing quite well. But in Australia, we have a very small market, we have a very small population, and there's just a very small percentage of people who are still actively buying or collecting physical media. And it's very sad and it's disappointing, but that's the way things go, and we do have to change and we do have to adapt. Once again, I wish the absolute best to everybody out there in Random Space Media. I've had a few people asking me whether they're going to be doing like a clearance sale or anything. I don't know. I have no idea. But as of this morning, I have checked and their website's closed. So as far as I'm aware, they're going to fulfill whatever orders they can, and then whatever happens to that stock afterwards, I don't personally know. In a case like this, where you're closing a business or you're liquidating a business, some cases, they would have to liquidate all the stock. They would have to destroy it, get rid of it. In other cases, it may be that they can then on-sell the stock to someone else, like maybe Sanity or JB Hi-Fi, and maybe you'll be able to buy some of their releases in-store. I don't know. Again, you're going to have to reach out to them with those questions. But again, you've only got a week where you can get in contact with them until they're closed down. Once again, thanks for watching this video. It's a very sad one. Sorry to be doomsdayer again, but I felt like I had to sort of tell you guys what I know and help reassure you and all that stuff. Once again, thanks for watching, and thanks to the team at Random Space Media for being just so wonderful all this time. You have been absolutely fantastic to work with, and your releases have been just absolutely tremendous. So thanks for absolutely everything. Until next time, everyone, I'll see you then. Take it easy.